Yes.
They're all buttons. You can.
Well, you keep saying over there, but I don't know where over there is. Like in front of me or
over here, PA.
Okay. Oh, I don't want to cross the line.
There you go. You got it. All right, everybody, we're starting. So take a seat. Greetings, horror fans, and greetings, everyone, all of our virtual viewers out there. I bid you special welcome, me, the Midnight Researcher, to the second edition of Midnight Society VR. I will not be narrating this time around. I'm going to give that welcome opportunity to all my co-hosts here, who tonight we have assembled AsTheRavenDreams, TeeStache, Mina, and TrollForce, with their own tales of terror for you to enjoy tonight. I will give the stage off to whoever is going to go first, but I sincerely hope that all of you stay scared and have a good time tonight.
Hello, I am Mina, and usually I would say hello, hauntlings, because I call my friends hauntlings. I have a haunted library that people visit me by. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, Muddying the Waters by Mina. I suppose I should say this is my first post. Isn't that how these usually start when you haven't posted before? I'm not sure how to start this. I'm not used to discussing personal events with people. However, I have a need to share this with you. Yes, I mean you, as in you who have happened upon this and are reading it. I need to explain what has happened and why I am writing this. So many of us have fallen into the trap of calling forth something we do not completely understand. It's a reality of our current society. We look for something to try to believe in is not real and cannot affect us, only to find out that it's more real than we believed possible. Media has told us and made us believe these rituals and stories are fictitious, which have no impact on our lives other than entertainment. Yet, you and I know different, don't we? We know better, right?
No, I don't have an idea. I'm gonna go stand.
We've made the mistake of calling forth a creature, demonic force, or curse upon our heads. It leaves us trying to find a way to escape what we have called forth upon ourselves in ignorance. No matter how we try in our ignorance, we are trapped in the cycle of trying to escape what we ourselves have called down. We all are searching for a way to break our chains of freedom, for freedom. Some are caught in the machinations of their own delusions. The oral tradition of stories was much like spellcasting. Then they were put into a written format, filling grimoires, books of dark and light thoughts, and supposed stories of fanciful imaginations. Now, it has moved from written to recorded and videos. We have movies and series which give us the same effect. It has also moved forward into the new internet and spread in more than one medium. We've been tricked into reading, watching, or listening to what we believe are innocent stories or actions. Some have even started placing a label on some of them, trying to make them seem less real. They're calling them creepypastas like Smile Dog, Slender Man, Laughing Jack, Eyeless Jack, and Been Drowned. We have movies such as Blair Witch, The Thing, It Follows, Hereditary, Truth or Dare, and The Craft. So many different ways to infect us in our ignorance. The internet only helps us to propagate the spread of such innocent ignorance. So I, like so many others, have come looking for a way to save myself. I wish to muddy the waters, to find a way to spread the belief and tulpa effect to the wider population. Just like others before me who have come here to find a way to hide from the creature or curse brought down upon themselves, I have come to add my own needs, as you read. My demon stalker is lithe, pale, and skeletal. Her eyes burn red when she chooses to let you see them. Her black flowing hair wraps around her body, bending with her dress at times. I made the mistake of letting her in by doing her ritual. I saw it demonstrated in a movie. The ritual was so much like Bloody Mary, I had to try it. Only, I didn't know it was real. I didn't know it would work. I didn't know what it would do to me. When she came for me, I looked at her unbelieving. I was unsure how to react to her. For the first few times I was in her presence, she teased me with promises of what could happen and how I could send her to others, ways to save myself from her vengeful needs. She didn't understand the words I spoke to her until it was too late.
I did.
Now, by telling you all of the Queen of Spades, I have spread her ilk to you. I'm guilty of trying to spread the same threat to you, dear reader, as others have come to do before me. However, I don't do it from innocent ignorance. I know exactly what I'm doing and how to do it. I sit here with complete knowledge and understanding. I am not sorry for the fact that it is now attached to you. I do not apologize for my actions, for I have come to read your demons, creatures, and curses. I want them to come to me. I have her to collect them, for she knows what I will do to her if she disobeys me. Yes, you have come to unburden yourselves, while I have come to feed. The end.
Whoever wants to go next can. Don't be waiting on anything. Don't worry.
That's fair. Guess I'll go
Go
next.
on, T.
Do it, T.
Do it, T. Only the mouse stayed still. Hello, my name is TeeStache. This story is part of the universe a friend and I have been working on. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. Bitter Vengeance by TeeStache. The heat from the sun slowly vanished towards the end of the day. The gravel beneath my boots moved as I walked towards the rusted door. Aged by time, too long to recall. I reached my hand towards the handle. With a grunt, I opened the heavy metal door. The familiar scent of carnage filled my lungs as I inhaled. I walked down the dimly lit steps as the door swung closed behind me. The slam of the metal frame echoed down the hall, deeper into the structure. In the distance, I heard steady breathing. Good. I'd hate to lose this chance. I reached the bottom of the stairs, turning towards a doorway around the corner, entering a red room filled with light. Tools of torture covered the walls and benches beneath. A large steel table stood in the center, strapped to the slab of metal lay an unconscious, disheveled man. I walked around him, towards the 5-gallon bucket on the floor. My hand unscrewed the cap, tossed it towards one of the shelves. I walked back around the man, stopping once I reached his head. The bucket's contents were slowly dumped onto his face. His slumber was replaced by his coughing and gagging upon the water, slowly suffocating him. Halfway through the bucket, I stopped, giving him a chance to catch his breath and ask a few questions. What the hell? What the hell am I? Good evening, Mr. Duncan. You are in my shed, strapped to my table, because you, sir, have fucked up. Before he could continue, I poured the rest of the contents, almost drowning him once again. Once the bucket was empty, I tossed it aside, letting it clunk against the concrete. He gasped for breath. What the fuck? What the hell? I felt my pulse quicken. Impulsively, I grabbed the holstered knife at my side. I jammed the blade into his arm, feeling it impact with the steel through his flesh. I felt slight joy listening to his cried pains, feeling a smile growing, listening to his anguish. The deal was to be discreet in this business, and you broke that deal. But no worries. I'm going to take my time with you. I pulled the knife out of his arm, feeling it tear through his muscle. His blood began to steadily pour out of his damaged arm. Oh, damn. If I don't hurry, you're going to die before I really get to enjoy any of this. Duncan looked at me with eyes full of confusion. Did I mess up? I swear! I made sure to clean up. No evidence. Nothing. I didn't say nothing to no one. I stared into his eyes, letting him sense the rage within me. I know. I must admit, I'm very impressed with your skills as a killer. You had great potential with this trade. But you made one mistake. One you will pay with for your life. I turned around, letting my gaze fall into the assortment of knives on the wall. Delicately, I plucked each of them and rested them on the counter. I shifted my head to look at his expression. Tears were trailing down his face. His tone became one of terror of what was to come. Please, I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. I ignored his pleas of mercy. Picking up the blades in one hand, I turned back towards him, planning on where I wanted to cause the most pain. My free hand took one of the blades, sinking it into his pride and joy. Next I aimed for his kneecaps, his elbows, ankles, and wrists. His screams grew with each knife I stabbed within him. He began to quiet down after several seconds of abusing his vocals. I could see his gaze shifting out of focus, the blood loss being too great at this point. I would not lose my chance of vengeance. I took my last knife and held it against his throat, looking him in the eyes. I'm thankful. It had been so long since I had enjoyed killing someone like this. I truly wish it had not been at the cost of my wife. With those words spoken, I dragged my blade across his throat, letting him die. I stood and stared, watching the life fade from his pupils. I felt warmth begin to run down my face. It had been a long time since I felt the sensation of tears. Even though I don't feel deserving of letting myself feel this way, I let my eyes pour out their liquid.
I'll go next.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, friends. I hope you're all doing well. I'm AsTheRavenDreams, and this is submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, is Open Your Eyes by AsTheRavenDreams. If I just open my eyes, I know that everything will be back to normal. There will be nothing out of the ordinary in the room. Everything will be as it should be. and I'll have no reason for me to feel fear whatsoever. In fact, I'll probably laugh at myself when I realize that everything was in my head, and I was upset for no reason whatsoever. I'll pull my eyelids open, and the only thing I'll see in front of me is an empty space filled with the darkness of the night and some furniture. I'll see the ceiling, complete with the various dust and cobwebs that line the corners, and then I'll see the ceiling fan spinning slowly on its lowest setting. If I look over, I'll simply see my wife sleeping comfortably. Perhaps I'll see the cat on the windowsill looking out at the night, and a few car lights as they reflect off of the glass pane. But I know that there will be nothing else, right? There'll only be the normal motions of the night and nothing else. I have to tell myself that there will be nothing else. In fact, that crashing noise that I thought I heard a few moments ago, it was simply in my mind. Nothing more than a byproduct of an overactive imagination and eating spicy foods too late in the evening. A nightmare that, in the end, will mean so very little to my life. I may remember it in the morning for a few minutes, and maybe it'll cause a bit of anxiety, but I'll laugh it off, and it'll turn out to be irrelevant in the long run. The same goes for the stepping sounds that I thought I heard. Those heavy thuds that seemed to echo throughout the hallway immediately after said crashing noise. They were nothing at all. They may have sounded like they were coming from the feet of a very large and hungry creature, but it was just my brain making things up as it went along. It's hilarious how we can scare ourselves with our own imaginations, huh? And then, when I heard the shrieking and hissing of my angry cat, I would think he was most likely just being the guardian of the house that he pretends to be. And there must have been something outside the sliding glass window that angered him. He's always been one to jump at shadows. More likely, maybe there was another cat, a feral one that likes to roam the neighborhood, that had walked up to the back porch and caught his eye. He felt the need to make as much aggressive sound as his tiny frame would allow. He just wants to protect his domain and his family, and I can commend him for that. Maybe in the morning I'll give him some treats for being such a good cat. Yeah, that'll do. And that scream that my wife let out a few moments ago, no, that was certainly nothing more than her waking up from one of her night terrors. It must have been one of the more intense ones, as the scream sounded like she was in pain. And she screamed more than once. Really, though, it's not the first time that she's had these overwhelming nightmares. Heck, last week alone, she awoke twice in the middle of the night to them. Of course, those were more like gasps than screams, but that just tells me that they are in fact getting worse. I have informed her that she needs to see her doctor and get a sleep aid, just something to help calm her mind through the night. But she still hasn't made the appointment. I suppose I'll have to have that conversation with her again in the morning and hope that she listens this time. She must have been struggling to get back to sleep after she woke up, because I'm thinking that she must have turned on the TV to occupy her mind. Now, I'm normally fine with this, but I wish that she wouldn't choose to watch whatever gory horror movie was playing at the time, and I think I need to talk to her about what volume is acceptable when others are trying to sleep. That bone-crunching sound, followed by the sound of tearing flesh and entrails, was incredibly disturbing, and I cannot imagine that paying such close attention to something that violent in the middle of the night would help with your night terrors. In fact, I would think it would do the opposite. Just another conversation that I guess we'll have to have. There must also be something wrong with the heater. It seems like it kicked on, but it's much too warm in here for that. Maybe the thermostat is broken again. Maybe it needs a new battery or something. On top of that, the blower motor appears to be failing as the air is coming out in strange, rhythmic bursts instead of a constant stream. The fact that it almost feels like the warm breath of some sort of large creature would be concerning if I didn't have a logical explanation. I would say that I also need to clean out the ducts and vents. It almost smells like a mouse may have nestled up and died somewhere in the system. The scent is incredibly unpleasant, but again, there's a reasonable explanation for it, and it'll have to wait until morning, yeah. I really don't think I should get out of bed right now and start fixing various problems in our house. And then, there's that low gurgling sound that almost reminds me of a low growl. I guess that I need to be really better about the upkeep of our house. That has to be the pipe that's struggling to push water or something simple like that. Sure, the sound is usually not so deep and not so loud. It almost sounds like it's right next to my face, but that's not possible. It has to be that the pipe is in really bad condition. That's all. Yeah, that's all. And that slight damp feeling on my face, well, that pipe must be leaking into the ceiling. That's really not good. I suppose I should be really concerned about the state of things if the drip is coming down through the ceiling and dropping onto my face. The water is also warm, so at least I know which pipe it likely is. Yeah, it's just the pipes. It's just the pipes and nothing more. See? All of it makes sense. It's all rational. The sound, the screaming, the feelings, they all have a perfectly logical and reasonable explanation to them. Now, I just had a weird dream. The cat is overly protective. My wife needs to see her doctor about her night terrors. And I just need to be better about maintaining the upkeep of the place. This is absolutely all that is happening. It all makes perfect sense, and when I open my eyes, everything will be normal. And there will be nothing to be afraid of. I just need to open my eyes, take a deep breath, and calm down. And I will do so as soon as I can think of a good, logical explanation for that claw that is poking at my chest.
Hello, everyone. I am TrollForce, and I am the author and creator of Silent Hill Respite, and I am a community member of the Amnesia modding community with fictional games, and I will be reading the portraits. Submitted by the approval of the Midnight Society. The portraits by Anon. There was a hunter in the woods who, after a long day hunting, was in the middle of an immense forest. It was getting dark, and having lost his bearings, he decided to head in one direction until he was clear of the increasingly impressive foliage. After what seems like hours, he came across a cabin in a small clearing. Realizing how dark it had grown, he decided to see if he could stay there for the night. He approached and found the door ajar. Nobody was inside. The hunter flopped down on a single bed, deciding to explain himself to the owner in the morning. As he looked around inside the cabin, he was surprised to see that the walls adorned by several portraits, all painted in incredible detail. Without exception, they appeared to be staring down at him, their features twisted into looks of hatred and malice. Staring back, he grew increasingly uncomfortable, making a concerted effort to ignore the many hateful faces. He turned to face the wall, and exhausted, he fell into a restless sleep. The next morning, the hunter woke up. He turned, blinking in unexpected sunlight. Looking up, he discovered that the cabin had no portraits, only windows. And that's it.
And I believe that is all the stories we have for tonight. We do have a reasonable amount of time left, though. So, just as last time, if anyone wants to come up for a question and answer session, we would be more than happy to oblige. as long as they're orderly and appropriate for Twitch, because this is being live streamed. Before that, I would like to draw attention to the Twitch chat, which has been somewhat active during the session. The first comment we got was, TeeStache for you, Joker guy, sounds so spooky in a smoky voice kind of way. And another person agreed that it was very fitting. Raven, the same person, said that your story was very good, and they were wondering where they could find audio for it, on YouTube or otherwise. Do you have an answer for that, Raven?
I've actually not done that story myself, but another channel, 242 Reads, has done it, and she did an excellent job as well. So, Reads has done it.
Very good, very good. And and just for the audience out there, what was the story called again?
The name of the story is Open Your Eyes.
Very good. And this other person brings up a good point, is that all the information for this panel and the panelists can be found in the HorrorCon VR Discord, at least for this session of the Midnight Society being hosted by HorrorCon. Now, as I mentioned before, I will turn the questions over to the audience. So one at a time, please step up and you can ask any question you like relating to our stories or us.
I've got a question for TeeStache.
Oh.
Very well, step up. Step up to the
There's
middle
a podium,
so everyone can hear you.
Podium right there.
Hello.
Hello.
TeeStache, how long have you been narrating?
Since 2019, or near the end of it.
What made you start?
Honestly, I like doing cool voices and such, and that's when I decided I wanted to take voice acting seriously. I found a friend through an improv group. She told me that she trained voice actors. She taught me voice acting 101, and I figured I still need to increase my skills, but it doesn't stop me from doing whatever I can to get as much experience as I can.
Well, I did also want to say I very much liked your voices for this particular story tonight.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
If anyone else would like to step up, you can. Very well then. If there are no more questions from... Actually, one moment, let me check. Does not seem like there are any more questions from the Twitch chat either. So this was evidently a much shorter session than last time, but that's not a negative. Some stories can be just as scary, even if they're shorter in length. Someone says... oh, no, that is a HorrorCon related question. I'm sorry, we can't answer that here. Yes, stories being shorter is not a bad thing. Always keep that in mind when perusing any other forms of written horror media. It's very important. This has been, as I said before, myself, Midnight Researcher, with Midnight Society number 2 at HorrorCon VR, with AsTheRavenDreams, TrollForce, TeeStache, and Mina. Thanks to all you horror fans for attending. And be sure to check out the rest of HorrorCon VR. There are many other panels and booths and events to check out, including more tonight. That's going to be it for Midnight Society number 2 at HorrorCon VR, and I bid you all a good night.